Joining us today on Pirate Radio Live, former East Carolina pitcher Danny Beal, host of the Danny Beal Show. DB, how you doing, man?
What's going on, fellas? How are we?
We're doing good. The sun's shining brighter after a Pirate victory,
Yeah.
and a decisive one at that. It was. I don't know if the team necessarily needed it. You can tell me more than I know, but I think some fans needed it. They needed to see ECU win. Everybody can relax a little bit, but how about from the player standpoint? Do these guys need it for confidence, or is it a confident group even when you lose a few?
No, that was a pumping for sure. That was a little bit of a bludgeoning for sure. I don't know. I feel like from different people's perspectives, it's different. Obviously, the fans needed it, wanted it. I mean, after coming off 3 games against Carolina where you lose, it's a little tough. But I feel like the players, I didn't really think it bothered them. I think it was business as usual, like another game. Hey, we need to go out and do what we do, and especially going into a big weekend where we're honoring the Leclercs and doing all that stuff with the Leclerc Classic. I think it was important to get some confidence going into it.
Yeah, we'll talk about the Leclerc Classic coming up this weekend. Always a fun and special weekend, but new stars being born here. Austin Irby dropped one yesterday. That was good to see. I came in today. Shirley Rhodes said she has a new favorite ECU baseball player, Ethan Young, and
Stud.
we love a good potty mouth around here. And he
That was awesome.
dropped a couple of curses in his post game.
Beautiful. We just set the tone.
Yeah, really. But it's going to be fun all year watching these guys grow up, and even the returner. Good to see Colby Wallace have some success yesterday. He's gotten off to a rough start, so good to see the guys put it all together.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think Ethan is a big thing just because of how touted he is. I mean, he gets normally you can see it the first game of the year. He was the first guy out of the bullpen. That's normally your guy, no matter what the situation is. And he's pitched in big situations. He obviously went and threw really well against Carolina, and then yesterday he was lights out. And it's not a lot of celebrating, not a lot of like the Norbies of the world where he's freaking out coming off the mound. It's business as usual where he gets a punch out. That's what's supposed to happen. And you heard him yesterday in his post game. JC sent it to me, and I was like, nice first one to get under your belt, just ripping it a couple times, but that was pretty funny. But no, he was great. Dixon with the ball that he hit to Pirate Radio Studios, that was big.
Man,
Colby getting some knocks. John Collins absolutely smoking that guy. That was crazy. But no, everybody played well. I think Walker's RBI in the first was a big tone setter to get. I think a big thing that's been kind of depleted is playing ahead. We got ahead on Monday against Carolina and then immediately gave it away. And I think shutdown innings has been very big since I've been here and obviously carrying it on with these pitchers. But playing from ahead is a big thing, especially going into this weekend where you're facing 3 different opponents.
you said something there. Chris Holba had a scary situation, I think in Houston years ago, where he got hit by a pitch and then missed some time, came back wearing a cage, I guess.
It's like what Hoover wore after he got smoked by
Yeah.
his knee.
Did you get hit by a ball? Have you been? It's had to happen once in your career, right?
Not a line drive.
Yeah.
I've got a
Ground
chopper
ball.
hit back, like a missile hit back at me where I had to get out of the way of it. The only one I've ever really seen in person, I was a freshman and we were playing Norfolk State in the regional, and Wiz had one hit back at him where if you watch the replay, it hit his hair and his hair flopped up on the line drive. But that's the only one I've ever seen in person when I was on the team.
Yeah, scary situation. Do they coach like what to do as far as if a ground ball is this far away from you, don't get it because the guy behind you will, or is it like all instinct? What do they tell you?
It's tough because I've learned as you get older, you learn just get out of the way. Like
No matter what.
There's some other times where if it's like make the play, make it. But if it's hard, and Coach Palumbo always does a great job of positioning guys. Like I feel like every single time I let a ball go through, I'm like, crap, that's a base hit, and there's a guy standing right where it is. But no, more often than not, if it's hit hard, I'm just getting out of the way. I'm not going to try to be a hero and make the play. It's what the fielders are for.
On that note, anti-shifters will point out every time a weak ground ball goes through on the shift. Do you just chalk that up to the game, or do you like shake your head saying that should have been an out?
No, I mean, I'd be lying if there weren't times where I'm like, if we're playing normal defense, that's an out. But baseball's a game of averages, and I'm going to go with Coach Palumbo because he's super, super intelligent with all the stuff revolving defensively, obviously small ball offense too as well. And I will take Coach Palumbo on my team positioning guys every single day of the week because he's so good at it.
DB, Danny Beal joining us. Big weekend coming up, the Keith LeClaire Classic. The guys will be donning the 23 jerseys and hats. And Danny, how about that day for you? And how did it get more special as you got older, like during your career, learn more about Keith LeClaire, learn more about his connection with Coach Godwin and everything?
No, it is special. I mean, I remember the year before I got here was when we got the new jerseys, and I'm like, well, first and foremost, I want to wear those. Those are sick. But you learn more and more about the situation, and obviously the stuff we do with, reading Coaching Third, Mission Week, all the stuff and principles that Coach Godwin teaches us that he got from Coach Claire is very important. But that weekend is just so special because the crowds are more into it. The teams, like a couple years ago when we had Michigan come with Eric Bakich and Nick Schnabel, that was very cool. But I think it's just the aura around with Lynn and Audrey being there. It is one of those things where everybody is on a heightened level of awareness of, all right, we need to go out and play the way that Coach LeClaire would want us to play, which is hard and show toughness and all the stuff that his team showed when he was coaching here.
Would you rather play a traditional series, or do you like playing 3 different teams, 3 different days?
I think it's great because it's like a regional. I mean, whether the teams are of the caliber or not, I think every single time that we played it in the years past, it was like, you got Ole Miss coming, Michigan, Indiana State was really tough a couple years ago on a Friday.
They're back this year.
Yeah, they are. They're on Saturday. They lost their head coach to South Florida, but they're still a really good program, and I think it's good experience. Like that's why we play these kinds of games early in the year, whether it's the Carolinas or the States in the midweek or series like this, where it's simulating what it's like to host a regional. I mean, you have 3 teams practicing today at the field to get ready for the weekend. Teams in your dugout. You get to go watch the games early if the coaches let you, and it's a really, really cool experience that not many other teams in the country get to experience. Like you have the tournaments that play at like the Rangers Stadium, and you got these guys going, but it's home atmosphere. Fans get to come experience what Greenville's like, and I think it's a really cool experience.
Do weekly check-ins with you, get your scouting expertise. What do you think about the rotation so far, specifically Sean Jenkins through 2 starts?
Sean's been great. I mean, it was tough for him to start the way he did, obviously, with, 40 pitches, but I was so immensely proud of him for how he settled in, and we've talked about it till we're blue in the face with how mature he is and how well-versed he is in baseball at only 17 years old, but, dude, he is going to be special with how well he was able to corral himself and get back in the dugout and kind of gather himself after – they said in the postgame, he was very juiced up, and he didn't know how it was going to go, especially with a guy first outing like that on the road. But now you know how to get control your emotions at pregame, especially in your first inning. But it's only going to tick up from here, and Norby's been great, and even Zayak was good on Sunday, even though he didn't go very far. But the bullpen's been spectacular, and it's only going to get better when they get healthier. And hey, like Coach Godwin said, after pretty much every postgame, the Pirates' better days are ahead of them. So
yeah. Danny Beal joining us, had Coach O, Dr. Gary Overton, in that seat last week. And I asked him and then immediately knew the answer right after I asked him. I asked, had he ever been to spring training? And he can because he coached and then his time here as an announcer and everything. But I'd love to see Coach O get down there, just being the baseball guy he is. You want to be pitching in spring training, obviously. But is that something, have you ever been as a fan or anything?
I really want to.
Yeah.
I feel like it would be such a cool experience. Like the weather's perfect. The games start at 1. Like, I feel like it'd be so cool to just, even because they're all right next to each other. Like it's all South Florida, and then it's all, I guess, where's Phoenix? West Arizona? Whatever.
I don't know
Phoenix
the geography. Yeah.
But it's all right there where all the facilities are. So it'd be a really cool experience for sure.
Don't they have like a little monster or something, or like a replica Red Sox stadium?
Yeah, it's like the JetBlue Monster or something like that. It's called JetBlue Park, but AK and I were talking earlier about how well all the pitchers have done. Like Gavin threw yesterday, went 2 innings, no hits, no runs, 3 Ks. Shank threw the other day, got a punch out of Gino Groover, who played at State. Spivey threw really well. Zach's been throwing well, obviously. Trey threw, not televised, but live ABs to some guys that I talked to him about that he was doing really well. So Pirates are trending upwards for sure.
That's really cool to see those guys pitching with the big league squads.
JC was talking about, he was I guess, I don't know the term, but he's on the bench, and if somebody gets hurt, he can go in and play because it's spring training, and he gets game checks for it. So he literally was like, because I don't know, this was really weird. He caught a first pitch at a Marlins spring training game from Mike Schmidt yesterday.
That's a dream.
And I asked him, I was like, what the hell is Mike Schmidt doing at a Marlins spring training game? And he's got some foundation or whatever. But I was like, that's really cool. And he's like, yeah, I just chopped it up with Norby for like the entire game and just sat there, watched baseball, got a game check, and left. And I was like, so you're living the life, basically.
My buddy's mom dated Mike Schmidt back in the day.
Is that right?
Yeah.
There you go.
That's all I got.
That's a fun fact.
That is a fun fact. Back in Ohio. Let's see, DB. Pirates back home basketball on Sunday. I'll ask again. Are you going to this one?
I have to move out of my apartment this weekend, so I might, if I have the time, I will. Because Pirates play at 1 or 2, I believe. I think it's a little later, just because there's another
12
game.
basketball, and
I
then
think it might be 3, maybe.
baseball. What'd you say, Jay?
3:30.
3:30-ish. Yeah, depending on what happens before.
Charlotte, right?
Basketball, Charlotte.
Yeah,
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 going for
yeah.
the sweep.
Yeah, we need to get our revenge back for Biff.
Well, what is your life situation? Where you going? What are you doing?
I am going home for a little bit. I'll be back here during the week just because I'm doing physical therapy stuff at Young's, but still commuting back and forth to Charlotte every once in a while, once a week, and still trying to throw. And here in the next, I guess, few weeks, we'll have kind of a decision and an announcement on what the situation is through the middle of March, and we'll keep you guys posted. And maybe I'll Holton it, and you guys can break the news.
Yeah,
If
the
it happens.
decision.
The decision, yeah.
The DB decision.
Decision.
Where are you
jeez.
taking your
Yeah,
talents?
to the couch or to a baseball field somewhere. Who knows?
Good stuff. Danny Beal joining us here. DB, man, I watched, and I'm getting more and more into it. I'm watching more and more college basketball. Up to this point, I kind of just know the teams. Now I'm starting to know the players. Now I can't remember it. Owe, what's the guy's name at Kentucky?
Oh,
That
I know
went
who
the
you're
free
talking
call.
about. I don't know how to
Scored
say
like
his name.
21 of their last 23 points last night.
Yeah.
It was amazing down the stretch as they knocked off Oklahoma.
Did you see
But
Michigan State?
yeah,
That was wild.
I had Maryland.
Yeah, I was about to say, my reaction doesn't sound good.
And I had Oklahoma.
Have a
So
night, huh?
it was a rough ending to a couple of games.
Cannot wait for March, man. It's gonna be awesome.
I know. I don't know. So I went over the teams I have futures on, and then there's a bunch of them. Mainly Houston's kind of my big one. But
Yeah, I like
who
that.
are you eyeballing right now as far as teams to back in March?
The Dukies, I think. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know. I've John Fana, who's popular-ish, I guess, in the basketball world,
Yeah.
did a podcast the other day that I listened to, and he gave a rundown to everybody. And he was asked the question, it was like, do you think Duke is fake because of the competition they played? Because ACC sucks. Like, they're terrible this year. When Clemson's the second best team, that it's a problem. But he's
No
like,
offense.
He's like, no. I mean, you got Conkinepple, you got the big guys, you got Cooper. Like, they're talented. It doesn't take away from. I mean, they beat Miami by like 40 points. They beat Illinois Illinois is sick and out of shape, and they have some injuries, but they still beat them by 30 at a neutral site. Like, they're a good squad. They're going to be a 1 seed. I do like Houston though. I only like Houston because I like their coach.
I love Kelvin Sampson.
I think Sampson's great. I don't know, man. It's
You hear the words culture and all that stuff. There's certainly one in the program you played in here with
Yeah.
ECU Baseball, but there is a Kelvin Sampson Houston culture that no matter who they have,
crazy.
they're going to guard and
they're
just
going to play
smother
defense
you.
so hard.
Yeah.
You know who I do like? The Johnnies.
What a story.
Dude, awesome. I
Got him in the
love
top 10?
Johnnies. Oh my god, Vert Patino's awesome. There was a clip the other day, in the locker room of him just tearing them apart, and I was like, been there. First and foremost, been there.
Can
But-
relate.
Yeah, but it's like that's how basketball and that's how sports is meant to be coached. Like hard, tough, by a guy who has been there and done that. And it was funny. Fan was like, you can't take away the Russ Smith and Peyton Siva championship, but Patino's trying to get back, and it would be a really cool story to see him back in San Antonio this year for the Final Four.
No doubt. DB, good stuff, man. Thank you for joining us. Keep us up to date on your comings and goings.
Of course, guys. I'll be in touch, and we'll see you next week.
All right, buddy.